They wanted me to do an episode about Aries, and I'm glad you asked. This is Dear Black Gay Men, and the podcast starts right now. What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman right here. And it's Wednesday, so this is a new episode of Dear Black Gay Men podcast. It's still our short, bullshit-free step out of our comfort zone to talk about all the emotional ups and downs along the journey to happiness. Hopefully, this is our midweek reminder of how dope it is to be black gay men and love black gay men. I am Jay the Gentleman. This is Dear Black Gay Men podcast. Now, let's get into the episode. I am always excited to be able to answer a listener question. And this particular question was just because it's Aries season. It is the season of the Ram. And here on Team DBGM, I have two Aries that work with us. Some people know him as Twink Tech Support, but he is one of my favorite people, John. He's an amazing filmmaker as well. So if you have opportunity, you should check out his short film, Fear Not, at fearnotmovie.com. I have the link in the description. And then Aaron is an Aries, and we surprised him last year with a special birthday right here on the podcast. And so I have some experience with Aries, not a whole lot. Dating Aries has escaped me, but I have a little bit of experience with fire signs in general because in addition to John and Aaron, I have dated Aries. I'm currently dating a Leo, and Sagittarius are some of my favorite people, as well as my sister and my niece are both Leo. So there's a whole lot of fire signs around me. And my job, I really do believe, is just taking all these experiences and figure out what I can learn. Hopefully what I can teach y'all, but what I can learn from all these things around me. And just like I had a whole bunch of Gemini to teach me a very specific lesson, I have a whole bunch of Aries around me to teach me some very, very specific lessons. And the one thing that I've learned is that Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, they are not attention seekers as much as we think they are. I know I got a whole bunch of Leo that people think they're always looking for a spotlight and the world revolves around them. That's not it. But in order to express how I got to that realization that they are not attention seekers, I got to start at the beginning and hopefully shed some light on how you can love a fire sign a little better. But first, church announcements for everyone that has their notifications turned on YouTube. You just saw that we went live yesterday. I'm starting a new project that I really want y'all support on. It's called DBGM in the Morning. And so instead of going live on Thursday, well, in addition to going live on Thursday nights, we're going to add Tuesday morning, so where we can talk about what's happening in the dating pool. It might be some viral clip that has popped up on my timeline. It might be a conversation that is started by a question that comes in the DMs, like this episode. It may be just any number of ways that we can share our stories about dating and love and relationships along our journey to happiness. So it's going live Tuesdays at 11 a.m. on YouTube. And then, of course, the podcast is new every Wednesday, where I talk about the ups and downs along my journey to happiness. The journey has taken some ups and downs here recently, and I'm really excited to bring this content to you. I feel like me dating is one part emotional endeavor, another part trying to find the content. I think saying that might bite me in the ass one day soon. But also remember, this Thursday, I'm talking to a whole host of people of trans and non-binary experience on episode of Dear Black Gay Men live on Thursday nights. And so I'm really, really excited about everything that's happening. But remember, if you're loving this content, the easiest way to support what we do here on Dear Black Gay Men is to join our YouTube channel as a member. Members get exclusive access to behind the scenes content, channel perks, invitations to join us right here in the back room, and so much more. Every membership level or super chat helps us create this content every single week. Just hit the join button under this video or click the link in the description. That concludes our church announcements. Please govern thyself accordingly. And so I'll give you a quick story. My niece, who is the best person I know, I will not tell you her name, but she is legitimately the best person I know at 2 years old. She and I were playing the other day, and I'm really intentional about the time I spend with her. I try not to be in front of the TV a lot. I try not to give her a lot of screen time when I'm watching her. No shade to anybody else that does, but I try to have a full schedule because she my niece and I only got one. And my while we are expecting a nephew soon, I only got one niece, so I'm just gonna give her my full attention all the time, right? And so we're playing. She hands me a string of Mardi Gras beads because who knows where toddlers get their toys, but she has a string of Mardi Gras beads that we're playing with. She's got a little purse with some makeup and her little fake cell phone. It's the cutest thing ever. But she hands me a string of silver Mardi Gras beads. I see that they are silver. I'm looking at them. I've got 40 years of experience with the color silver under my belt. She hands them to me, and we're playing, the color game. I'm asking her, like, what color is your purse? What color is your shoe? What color is your jacket? And I say, what color are these beads? And she looks at me square in the face and she says, they're white. And I'm like, okay, baby girl has a new color that she could learn. And I'd be like, no, baby girl, I think they're silver. Now, I know they are silver. She might not know, but I know. And sure as the day is long, she looked me straight in my eyes. She said, and she nodded, she shook her head just like that. No, they're white. I, for the life of me, could not fathom how she came to the conclusion that they're white because I know they're silver. But she could not see or understand any reality aside from the one that she's created where this silver string of beads is white. I am not going to say she's delusional. I am not going to say that she is, because she's smart as hell. Like, she's the smartest 2-year-old I have ever met in my life. And this situation was totally hilarious. But what it added to me was it underscored this notion of fire signs. Fire signs get a bad rap at people thinking they are, the center of attention. Like, Leos don't want to be the center of attention. Aries don't want to be the center of attention. Sagittarius don't want to be the center of attention. But the spotlight gravitates toward them because they have leadership qualities. Aaron is in charge of almost everything that goes on here in the back room, and I would not trust anybody else to run this ship in my stead aside from him. Aries. John writes almost every word that I say on the shows that he produces. I would not trust anybody else to create the conversations that he creates. Aries. My sister, my older sister, is probably one of the wisest people I know. Leo. Baby girl, Leo. And then I can think of like Sammy Austin, who has appeared on the show, or several others, Sagittarius. Like, the spotlight loves a fire sign, but it's not because they want it. It's because in their mind, there is no other way this could be. Sammy Austin might be a great songwriter and a producer and vocalist and all the things, but any one of those pieces of his story would not make the same sense if he wasn't the one in the spotlight. There is no equation where somebody could do Sammy Austin better than Sammy Austin. Same thing with my sister. My sister is a party planner. She is a social worker. She has a whole bunch of accolades under her belt. But somehow or another, all these things that she does well, all these individual skills coalesce into something magical when she puts her hands to it. Same thing with Aaron and John. They've got a whole bunch of individual skills that when they come together, there's nobody who could do it better than they do. And so, of course, they end up in the spotlight. Of course. Of course. Why would the spotlight not follow them? How else would we find the magnificence that is in them? All their skills come together in one magical feat that becomes a fire sign. Now, there is a drawback because although they don't want to be in the spotlight, because the reality in their head matches the reality around them, that means that when you get in an argument with the fire sign, you ain't going to win. They have seen it. They have gamed it out. They have observed every aspect of this thing. And there is one thing that they are sure of, that what they see, what they know, what they feel is the way it is. Now, that is, there are a whole bunch of ways of looking at everything, but that is exactly how a fire sign sees it. Give you another example. I talk about Kevin on our Substack. You can click the link in the description. You can read all about my ups and downs along my journey to happiness with Kevin, because we are dating. And he is an August Leo. And one thing that I know about Kevin is that if you are locked in a disagreement, he will come out triumphant. Because somehow or another, he has played out so many different versions of this thing to where he has seen it before it happened and was able to move in that along the way. Aaron talked about the same thing, about how he creates every scenario under the sun when he is locked in disagreement. Now, the upside about that is you can absolutely trust the judgment of an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius. They've seen it. They've walked the walk. They've talked the talk. They've done the research, and they found out what they've got is the best version of that they can create. There is nothing better that they can do. So when you lean on a fire sign, they're going to give you 100%. But the flip side is, if you are on the opposite side of a disagreement with a fire sign, it can be catastrophic. I've talked a lot about fire signs, about zodiac and whatnot. And there are some skills, like being able to understand things before they happen, being able to like deep dive and research a topic before you make a decision, having your ducks in a row. The upside of all of that is that shows Aries has they shit together. Generally speaking, they got their shit together enough for them to stand 10 toes down and defend a point. But I think the bigger lesson is, unfortunately, in our culture, we get so backed into our corners when it comes to zodiac. I am a Virgo. And while everything Virgo doesn't apply to me, a lot of it does. I'm the Virgoist. Whether I know it or not, whether I believe it or not, I can argue somebody down. I'm hypercritical. I analyze everything. If I want it done, I want it done right. And a lot of times that means I have to do things myself. But if I'm relying on the fact that I'm a Virgo and that is creating a barrier for me to connect with someone, and you are relying on the fact that you are an Aries or a Leo or a Sagittarius, and that creates a barrier to connect with someone, then what are we really serving in the long run? I'm not going to tell you what it was about, but I was in an argument, a disagreement. I won't call it an argument. I was in an argument with Kevin. And I talk about this on our blog, that when we argue, I know, I feel, I see that he truly believes what he is saying. He absolutely, unequivocally stands 10 toes down every time he opens his mouth. But the hard part about that is when someone else, like me, also stand 10 toes down, then what could be, qualifying behaviors, what could be the thing that draws us near, the fact that you know what you know and I know what I know, can create a wedge where we can't see each other. What I've learned in dating Kevin is I have to be very intentional about the battles that I pick. Everything is not intended to be a conversation. Everything don't need to be a discussion. Everything doesn't even need to come out your mouth. Sometimes you got to shut the hell up. Hard part about that is I have a podcast, so my business is talking. But I can't be Jay the gentleman in my relationship. I can't be Jay the gentleman in my dating situations. I have to be Jared, which is my government name. And in being Jared, I have to recognize that sometimes, especially dealing with a fire sign, every conversation doesn't need to be had. Because if it's had, it's going to be had fully. And the growing that I've done is I've been able to process in my head, is this a small potato or is it a big one? Is in 10 years' time, am I going to remember this conversation? If the answer is yes, then I got to proceed, understanding the person that I'm proceeding with. If the answer is no, I can let it go. But I think a lot of our relationships crumble because we hold on to the things that we're never going to remember, and we forget to argue about the things that actually matter. We forget to discuss and be vulnerable and open up about the things that are really, really important for the success of our relationship. Because the easy stuff to argue about, the easy stuff to dwell on, are the things that I can, shoot the shit and be out my ass. The hard stuff is the stuff that I've got to pull on some courage. I've got to express some vulnerability and get it out. And I do think a lot of our relationships major in the minors. And the funny thing is, I had to learn this because I'm dating a fire sign. So, dear Black gay men, it's time that we start majoring in the major stuff. Remember, we go live on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. for Dear Black Gay Men in the Morning. And then the podcast is new every Wednesday right here on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up and let us know that you are enjoying this content. Also, give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting platform. It really does help us find new listeners. Then, of course, we go live right here from the back room on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload, a post, or a live show. I am Jay the Gentleman. This has been Dear Black Gay Men Podcast, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.